The worst horror movie I ever saw was fucking great.
Hello and welcome to This May Hurt a Bit. My name is James Strayer and this is
John C. Myers.
And we are a horror franchise podcast discussing each film in horror franchises. And today we will be discussing Return to Sleepaway Camp from 2008. And if this is how we're going out on this franchise, I say bon voyage, c'est la vie, all those things that Bugs Bunny says when he's like going away on the boats. It's a reference for like two people, I suppose. But, you know, I'm kind of glad to be closing this one up after these last two. This is a rough one, folks.
Yeah, this one I have a bit of a soft spot for just because I like the story behind it. You know, kind of like with
100%.
Hellraiser Judgment. It's getting the gang back together of sorts. Like it's getting Robert Hiltzik back. A lot of this was the work of Jeff Hayes.
Yeah.
Really championing the original movie, really getting the cast back together for reunions, which sparked more interest in it. And eventually, you know, helping to promote getting the money for this.
Yep.
And so I appreciate that element of it. I like that Jeff and Felissa Rose, among others, like really championed getting this thing off the ground.
Yep.
It's the guy's second feature ever. Right. And there's, you know, with
yes.
20 years in between it, diminishing returns perhaps, but I still like that. It's still cool that happened. Yeah. So kudos to Jeff and listen for like really just carrying a torch for this thing. Just getting all the nice things out of the way at the front.
Yes. And it was all worth it for Alan, you know, is basically, you know, what it comes down to. No, I mean, I totally agree. You know, I love it when a fan community does good things instead of, like Marvel. Or not Marvel, but like, you know, what the modern fandom is something
just I can complain and be aggrieved that you aren't getting exactly what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead, you're getting like, you know, the return of the original director. And like, I wonder if it was like hard to talk him into making another feature film, because after you get out of the business, he may just be like, I'm just pretty cool being a lawyer and living in upstate New York.
Right. Now he had another script, like this was sort of based on his initial script for Sleepaway Camp 2.
Oh, right. Yes.
So, I mean, but still, just wanting to get sort of back in the trenches, that could take some convincing. And for the record, acting aggrieved about sequels not delivering what you want is cool when we do it.
Yes, fair.
Just want to demarcate that like it's different and better when we do it.
It's different, better, and because we have a podcast. So
that's right. Yeah.
Makes it better. Yeah. So this was originally supposed to come together in like 2001, but evidently got derailed because of the terrorist attacks. So
I'm unfamiliar.
But you know, those 25 years ago. God.
Yeah.
So it did kind of languish for a while. And then evidently, like when they did finally get everything together, they lost half the budget during production. Is just wild. Like you got to be a cold-hearted person to be like, no, I'd like to take back my $5,000.
Yeah, and I could not get an indication as to why that happened.
Right.
At least in Jeff Hayes' book, he didn't go into why that happened, just that circumstances occurred that they took it all back.
Yeah, it doesn't make for a good story, but that makes you a pretty good producer. If you're just going to keep your lips shut and just like roll with the punches and not be aggrieved in public about that kind of stuff, that's probably smart. But I would still love to know.
Yeah, it's fascinating because like that's rough. That is, I mean, obviously we saw what happened in part 4.
Yeah.
What happens when all your budget goes away.
Yes.
But yeah, to still like get things done, I guess Hayes specifically shouted out cinematographer Ken Kelsch, really doing a good job of like keeping the crew in line. And I don't mean to sound that as like sort of this military, like shut up, but just like getting people psyched that this is where we got a job to do.
Yeah.
Like we started this, let's finish it.
I worked with Ken Kelsch one time on a feature that shot here in Portland called House of Last Things. And he also was the DP for Driller Killer, Spookies.
Oh God.
Bad Lieutenant.
Oh.
Yeah. The Addiction.
A lot of Abel Ferrara stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he also shot Big Night.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So like, and Big Night has one of my all-time favorite closing shots to a movie where the two brothers are just making the egg in silence. And like, I don't know why, but it just stuck with me for years. And I got to tell him that. on set.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. No, Ken was a.
Then he said, "Go away."
I mean, you never knew the attitude that you were going to get from him. You know, he was funny, but man, he was a huge presence and big personality. And it's funny that you said military because he did serve in the military. And he brought a little that bravado with him. He passed like 2 years ago, but he was shooting stuff up until like 2019 or so. But he was an interesting guy. I'm kind of glad that I got to work with him on that. And Ken Kelch, Bad Lieutenant, Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
I always love that when you see like people on ostensibly film Twitter or Film Blues or whatever will do a thing where they'll like, oh, same cinematographer, 2 different movies. And then it will be these wide variety of stuff because these guys are workers just like anybody else.
Exactly.
You know?
And whether or not like, you know, you could say like, oh my God, he started doing like, you know, Bad Lieutenant and stuff like that. And now he's doing this smaller production. It's like, man, you take the work and
I mean, there's all kinds of reasons you could take that job. Yeah.
For sure. That was half my joy on this watch.
That's awesome.
Seeing that it was Ken. But yeah, God, where to begin? John, you ever light a fart?
You know, no. No.
Thought I'd hit you with that.
I've never just like hung out in my underwear with my friends, let alone just doing that while lighting farts.
What do you call last Friday?
That was a business meeting. That's
gotcha.
For tax purposes.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah, like that was an odd way to start off this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of half-naked teens hanging out lighting farts.
Yeah. And it maintains about that level of maturity. Not that I despise, I'm not too good for a well-done fart joke. Sure. Well done properly. But this is where we begin. And I'll say it, we go down from there. We don't go up from there. We go pretty far.
Kind of do. Yeah. Because that at least has some visual flair to it. I mean, literally. Yeah, right. It is kind of surprising that, like, you know, mentioning the cinematographer on this, because this is pretty just it's fine. You know, it's not like it's a big grandiose thing, but it's certainly competently done. But it's all just the staging of some of this stuff feels very like TV or just sort of matter of fact. Yeah,
there's a shot in the second scene, like the first time we get into the dining hall area, where they would cut back to one particular table, and the table just looked like it was further away from everybody else, and it just looked like a little set in the corner by its lonesome. Like they didn't have another table creeping into frame to give us like a sense of where it was.
Right, to make it seem like it's all one. Yeah.
Obviously, the MST joke, help, I'm in another dimension, like always comes to mind. Like we don't know where these people are in relation. Yep. The blocking and the spatial stuff, and it definitely does seem like maybe Duder hadn't directed a movie in 20 years. It's a little bit rusty.
Just maybe. Yeah. I mean, also like, because that's some of what that was in the first one. I mean, there was some of that in the first one as well, of just like, all right, here's the wide shot of this area by the pool or, you know, by the lake where everyone's going to hang out and have their conversations, and we'll just kind of shoot it exactly the same each time. But it didn't have the charm of that. I guess it just like something about this one seemed way more just, I don't know if it's like because it was higher quality or something like that, you know, like because of the it wasn't just like grainy film or something like, it just felt way more TV like.
Sure. Yeah. Well, he'll get a lot of guff this episode, but that opening scene introduces us to Alan.
What are you dicks laughing at?
Nothing.
You making fun of me?
No, Alan. We were just lighting farts.
Yeah, let me see. Whoa, that's great. Let me try.
It's not my lighter.
Like I care.
And you think that he's just going to kind of be this like, he's going to kind of come in and out. He's like a colorful side character.
Right. Or like he's going to get killed probably pretty quick. They're establishing him as a guy that sucks and is going to get killed pretty quick.
Would you call him our lead?
Kinda. Yeah.
If
I mean, I don't know.
Lead, I feel like he's our lead.
He's one of the protagonists, I guess you'd call it.
I mean, hyperbole is funny. I get it. But might be up there for most irritating character in a slasher that I've ever seen. Like
he's not great. And I'm not, I got to be careful with my words here because I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. But if you were someone like Robert Hiltzik and there was someone in your neighborhood, some dumb kid in your neighborhood that was like maybe he was egging your house, playing pranks. Maybe he was just a crappy paper boy and would throw the paper on your lawn while the sprinkler was going. Whatever. You hated this kid.
Yeah.
And you want to get vengeance on him, but obviously you're not a psychopath that don't want to beat a child. You'd rather psychologically torture him.
Yeah.
And so you cast him in a movie where bad things happen to him. But again, just to not be so obvious with it.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be like an hour and a half of him in a saw trap, something like that. You try to make him a hero, but then he's also just really irritating and annoying to be around. And as a hero, he smells. His character traits is he smells. He doesn't take showers or change his clothes. Everyone hates him and is mean to him.
Yeah.
But then he's an asshole to everybody else. So the audience is also going to hate him. Would you have done anything any different than what Robert Hiltzik did in this movie?
True. Yeah. I mean, the going back and forth from is he put upon and sympathetic to no, he's the most annoying bully that you've ever seen is like, you can't have it both ways, movie. He
Right.
can't pull on a little girl's pigtails and then scream, everybody hates me because I'm different.
Well, it made me think of The Burning and the peeping character. And he's like, I had to peep because people are mean to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's not the case here.
Right.
Whereas he's just like, yeah, everyone's treats because I'm different. You're really a jerk to everyone. There's no pathos like there is with Angela in the first one where she's getting, really mistreated and there are people in her corner. Because of that, no one likes Alan.
Mm-hmm.
No one. He apparently, even this one character is referred to as his brother, but that doesn't really matter. And his brother is even mean to him.
Totally.
Which I understand on one hand. I understand Robert Hiltzik was like, I don't want to just, even though I'm sort of remaking Sleepaway Camp, because this kind of has the Evil Dead 2, is it a remake / sequel thing? It's like, so you don't want to just do the same thing where it's like, well, here's this very put upon person that is a little odd, but they're being mean to them. But I think you went too far in the other direction, where you just made this person completely unlikable and unwatchable.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, nothing against Michael Gibney, the performer himself. He does a great job being awful.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say no, this is just how this guy normally is. But yeah, he's just really, really unpleasant. And so by trying to do something different, you just made it way worse.
Yeah. You think that he might come around or even get killed early on or even by the midway point. But no, we follow this guy to the grim end.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this wants to be like the first one. It wants to be a whodunit.
Yeah.
This is a legacy. Like I said, this is possibly a reboot or at best a legacy sequel.
Mm-hmm.
In that it just is we don't care about 2 and 3. Those did not happen.
Right. Because they talk about Angela being, at a psychological, I almost said farm, facility,
Right.
Yeah.
At a psycho farm. But whereas in 2 and 3, they just went, no, gender affirming surgery. Fine.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah. And our tax dollars paid for it.
Your parents' tax dollars paid for it.
Yeah.
So you can be mad on their behalf.
Right.
Yeah. This, they get rid of that and go and try to bring that into question again about whether or not Angela is a he or a she.
Right. A few other notables. Let's see here. We've got the late great Isaac Hayes' final film. Except for a brief cameo, I looked it up. He was in Soul Plane, which makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Even though this was shot years before it was released.
Exactly.
The way it ended up coming out was his final film.
His final film, and he's dressed up like a certain animated character.
Oh God. He plays a chef.
Yeah.
Charlie the chef.
Yeah.
And he's dressed like his character Chef from South Park.
Right.
With a bright red shirt. And
it's kind of funny.
Well, when they initially shot this in 2003, like South Park's still extremely popular.
Yes, that's true.
It makes a little bit more sense to have that nod, but oof. It just sticks out real bad.
If you're going to do that, I almost wanted him to walk in there and just go, "Hey, children." One of his specific taglines. If you're going to go there, go all the way.
Or play out hey, kids, where it's almost the same, but not really legally different so they don't get sued.
Right. Yeah. So he's in this for just a handful of scenes. So his underling is another cook there. And this guy celebrates the first death. But it's just one of those movies. And I hate this. It's just everybody yelling at each other. There's not a single conversation where anybody talks to each other like people. It's screaming and being snarky at each other. at every drop of a hat.
Didn't I tell you to put the goddamn trash bags in the dumpster? I'm infested with rats in here.
All right, don't blow an artery, okay?
Just make sure you do it this time.
I said I fucking do it, all right? Jesus Christ.
That was tough.
It's wild to look at this, and you don't necessarily want to attribute all of this to like the inner dark thoughts of Robert Hiltzik.
Yeah.
You know, like this isn't necessarily like reflect on him, but it is interesting his worldview in the first one versus the worldview of this one, because the worldview of this one is there is nothing good. Everything is bad.
Yeah.
Like in the first one, there's at least the camp is generally pretty fun and everyone has fun. And even when people are being mean to Angela, she's got Ricky there to back her up. There's other people there to back her up. And then when like adults are bullying children, there are other adults going, hey, that sucks. You're bullying a child.
Totally.
This one, everyone is fair game. Everyone is worth bullying and everyone sucks.
Yeah.
And so it's just this colder, you know, I don't know if this was written post 9/11 where he's like, the world is shit.
Right.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot grimmer worldview.
You got teachers bullying kids bullying other kids, and sometimes teachers, and it's just a nonstop back and forth.
Yeah. And everyone is just a jerk.
Yeah. First,
except Ronnie. Ronnie's still good.
That's true. Yeah.
But how impotent Ronnie is in the face of all this just shows you like just that being good is meaningless.
Totally.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You'll just get wiped up or, you know, scrambled up in your own paranoia and wanting to do the right thing versus actually doing it.
The second banana chef gets the first death scene, and he gets held up and dunked into, or like threatened to be dunked into a boiling vat of fryer oil. Like
it was a fryer, yeah.
Yeah, fryer stuff. And I remember thinking like, so he's dumping out a bag of fries to fry up in the fryer. He manages to make those fries look disgusting. And that is a cardinal sin of this movie, I think, because fries should never look disgusting. Fries are nectar of the gods, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that just shows you how bad Mickey, played by Lenny Venito, is at his job. And Lenny Venito, if you were in the early 2000s and you needed a vaguely Italian guy or an extremely Italian guy or a very New York type of dude.
Yeah.
He was your guy.
Right.
He was in a lot of TV shows playing some guy going, what's the matter over here?
Yeah.
Some variation of that.
Right.
With names like Moogie.
Moogie. Nice. He is lifted and then slowly dunked into the vat oil. And of course, you want to see, well, what's that body going to look like when it comes out? And it's kind of cool. Like he loses his hair and he looks like he's got batter all over him.
Yeah, I kind of like.
Is that how that would work though? Because wouldn't you need to be like breaded? What, like, would she need to bread him first?
If you remove that breading though, I think that's what it would look like underneath. I think it's more just the skin sort of swelling up. It kind of looks like one of those like ballistic gel dummies they would use on Mythbusters, but filled with SpaghettiOs.
Yes.
Like it's sort of that. It has the shape of a guy, but just the inside is SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
And so this is very similar to the death of the chef in the first one, where there was, you know, the very tall pot of boiling corn. Again, it's this, well, you have only made one other movie. Is this a callback to that?
Yeah.
Or is it just you not having any ideas? Is it, you know, like this is actually what I wanted to do, but we didn't have the budget.
Oh, that could
but
be.
Like it looks amazing in the first one with the pulsing burns on the guy's face and stuff like that. So it is, you know, is this for the fans?
It might be for the fans, especially because it's the first kill in both movies.
Yeah.
So it rhymes.
It does rhyme, but it just seems kind of hard to not just feel like you're already treading water when you're revisiting this well right away. This is the only other movie you made, and it's not like the huge fandom seems to be about the other movies as well. It seems like it's just this first one. But at the same time, I can understand the compunction. I want to be like, hey, remember this?
Yeah.
Here's a modern take on it with the SpaghettiO Man.
Sure. I will say this, and of course we'll get into them. The kills are at least inventive ideas. I'm not saying they were executed well, but I'm just saying like he clearly is not that interested in just making a slasher, like a just like knife wielding maniac type of thing. Like, no, these are a little bit more Rube Goldberg, like not like Saw necessarily, but like there's some planning going into them. nary
Yeah.
a knife or chainsaw is seen.
Yeah, there are usually some sort of machinations or, various moving parts to get the kills to happen.
So yeah, like I'll give him that. We quickly established that Alan, he's got his soft side, and that soft side is going to care for frogs out in the middle of the woods.
Still dicking around with the frogs. They're my friends. Yeah, right.
Whoa! Look at this mother!
What are you doing?
What?
You hurt him. These are men. I'll fucking kill you.
I'm not saying that frogs can't be beautiful to some people. Don't have a connection myself, but typically you go for something like kind of cute and cuddly. Like I was gonna say a raccoon, then I remembered I don't like raccoons either. But
Yeah, no, they could be evil. They've killed some of my chickens. I don't care for that.
yeah, there you go. So so he cares for bullfrogs out in the middle of the woods, and fine. That comes back later on in the movie, but I guess that's they're just trying to establish him as having like a caring soul for smaller things, even though he beats up on the lower rung of nerds in his camp.
Yeah, I think that's part of it as well. Is like, it's one thing to not feel sympathy for this guy because he's just sort of annoying, but he himself is a bully.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah, so I don't like, he's really mean. I mean, that kid's is his name, like Pee Wee or Pee Pee. He's a dork. And like, I can understand bullying him. I get it. But it doesn't endear you to me to watch you do that.
Right.
And then like, cause he's also always yelling and telling people that their ass stinks.
You're such a pussy, Alan.
Hey, Randy, your ass stinks.
Yep.
Hoping to get that on a t-shirt.
That's his eat my shorts,
Yeah.
Sweeping the nation. Your ass stinks.
It's cool airbrushed t-shirt of his face with your ass stinks
Hey,
in fancy old English font beneath it.
there's some new Heard a Bit merch right there.
Yes.
For the fans.
Yeah, for that huge overlap between fans of Alan and fans of this show.
Ew.
That's a huge market. Yeah.
But so Alan ends up going to a party, or I suppose you'd call it a social at the camp, and he's got a crush on one of the girls, and so he goes to talk to her, but then gets sidelines because another like group of kids want to like force him to smoke a joint with them. So he's just sort of getting passed around by these people. The scene culminates in him smoking a joint that is made entirely of dog poop.
A cow poop.
Cow poop. Yeah. Where are you going to get a cow in the woods?
I don't. Maybe he brought it with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how upstate New York works, but how close they are to farms, or just like, I packed a real good one this time.
So Alan smokes this joint with the there's like three punks and a preppy guy. Like they're like punk stoner type of guys, and then there's like the one prep that shows up because he's probably like, oh, those guys always have the good drugs, so I'm gonna go hang out. I gotta make friends with the punks. Unfortunately, Alan gets so high off the dog or the cow poop that he falls over, lands right over the crotch of one of the other guys. And so they just decide to nickname him Blowjob for the rest of the movie. That's it.
That's a lot of it. Yeah. So because he's inhaling a whole bunch of cow shit is not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's in a coughing fit.
Yeah.
Ends up dropping to his knees and clutching this guy in front of him and be like, oh, you sucking his dick.
Yeah.
And then we get that for a lot of the movie.
Yeah. A whole lot.
Yeah. So just more people being mean to him.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, backing up real quick, we've already been introduced to the head of the camp, Frank, played by Vincent Pastore. Most people know him as Big Pussy Bompensero on The Sopranos.
Yep.
Working actor, been in tons of stuff. He was in, and not unfamiliar to horror as well. In 1988, he's in Black Roses, a movie about an evil heavy metal guy. I think he gets killed by a record, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Sounds right.
But we also, in the intro scene to the camp, get introduced to, I don't know how to talk about this character.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, John.
He's the sheriff, I guess. Sheriff Jerry. Who talks with one of those I almost called it a vocoder, but those
100%
the neck talking thing, electrolarynx.
You're gonna sound real smart when this edits.
Yeah, when I edit out, where I just edit you making it sound like I don't know, and like, well, guess what? I actually know. But using that thing to speak, and is clearly a very small, tiny person in an ill-fitting sheriff's costume
with sunglasses on.
Yeah, and we'll get into why that's the case later. But I think as we get into that was just a really silly design choice. But
I did laugh, though. I legit laughed, and I fully understand that it is only just because it's usually the type of joke I don't like, which is simply making a reference to something.
Hey, why are you talking like that?
I'm glad you asked. After 35 years of smoking, I lost my larynx to cancer.
Hey, dude, can you play Intergalactic on that thing?
The Beastie Boys' latest single at that time, and that did make me laugh. But
yeah, I did, because I was not expecting that reference. So that was I will give them that.
Yeah.
Apparently in the opening credits too, which is just a series of newspaper articles about what has happened in the tragedies past, we learned that Frank, the camp owner, shares last name with Mel from the first one as well.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's not the same camp. But I guess they have a family tradition of owning camps where people get murdered a bunch.
I'd start suspecting that family then.
Yeah, or like that's a very strange like curse that they're under. Like,
yeah,
you had to piss off a very specific witch in order for that to happen.
Moving on to the next kill, we're getting a couple of the stoners that are hanging out at night. 3 of them decide it's time to go to bed because it's 2 a.m. and that stoner just wants to stay out there and like sleep under the stars or something. But when everybody else leaves, okay, so there's duct tape with a hole that goes on, a hose that goes into his mouth, then gasoline that's poured into his mouth, hose removed, joint stuck in there, light on fire, he explodes in a CGI mess.
Yes. Well, a sticker put over his mouth that says "Don't do drugs" or "Drugs kill."
Right. I guess that's kind of Angela-ish, now that I think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's attempt to add some levity to this very involved kill of making a guy drink gasoline, which he's fine with otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. He was just really high.
Yeah, but then when he breathes through the joint, his head explodes. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason this was shelved for so long is that allegedly Robert Hiltzik was very unhappy with the digital effects. And then so when people finally saw it, and this was apparently what he accepted.
Yeah.
They were like, okay.
Right. What was the bad stuff like? Or he could have just been beaten down at that point, just being like, fine.
Yeah, whatever. Just get this thing off my, Jeff Hayes won't stop calling me.
Right. Yeah. So rip that guy. Got a kickball scene instead of softball, and
like this one with the kickball scene, and then these other sort of like incidental scenes again feels so much like a TV show where there's just this like library music being played, or what sounds like library music. No offense to the composer, unless you did actually make those sounds, right. Then. But yeah, where it's just like establishing shots for like 90210. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, here's some hip stuff for teens. And now what are the teens talking about?
Totally. Yeah.
It, again, that's that very TV feel of the whole thing.
Well, and also all of these scenes, they're just sort of placed there. There's no, I guess the only rising action or tension is just like we're repeatedly screwing over Alan and he's getting more and more visibly mad. But otherwise it's just like, okay, here's some kickball. Then he's going to walk out and he's going to get paintballed. And it just doesn't have any connecting tissue to me.
Yeah, it doesn't even, that through line of who could possibly be killing these people too.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work because there's no other red herring besides Alan.
Right.
In the first one, at least you have, well, okay, so is that Angela doing it because the people are mean to her? Is that Ricky?
Yep.
Because people are being mean to his sister? Like there's some confusion there. This is like, okay, so then I guess, is it Alan killing him? If not, who? And like, because you are generally going into this as it being Return to Sleepaway Camp, is with the thing in the first was like, okay, so it's Angela. Like, where does Angela fit into any of this?
Yeah. And also just like as a fan of the first one and knowing that Angela is like supposed to be in this movie, I'm just kind of like waiting to see Angela.
Oh, did you say Alan? Because there's plenty more Alan. We can see a lot of Alan.
I just kept waiting for Alan to be in every scene. I wonder if he knows how much people dislike his performance.
I mean, a lot of the reviews specifically mention how much they hate that guy. So that's got to feel good.
Yeah.
Him and Ahmed Best are hanging out, in a bunker somewhere, just exchanging stories.
Yeah. Like this part of the movie just drags so much too, because it's like I said, like he gets surrounded by people like who paintball him to death almost. He gets a big old wedgie down at the docks, I think.
Yeah, again, at the request of his camp counselor,
yes,
of like the guy in charge of his group is like, because he's bothering people.
Yep.
And then, so that's fair. But then he's been bullied. The counselor has watched him get bullied. The counselor has bullied him himself, but he's just like, all right, everyone wedgie him.
Yeah.
And everyone's fine with it. There's no consequences for them bullying him other than, eventually some of them get murdered.
Yeah.
But no one in the camp cares about this. In fact, it seems like most people are fine with it.
They're very into it.
Yeah. When you watch the movie, you're like, I get it.
Yeah, of course. Furthering the red herring of it all, Big Pussy has a parrot named Matilda. The parrot starts saying,
Your ass stinks.
What did you say?
Your ass stinks.
Son of a bitch!
so, yeah, I guess it's just funny whenever a parrot says something dirty, right? Automatically. Sure. That also just means that Alan's been hanging out with the parrot. I don't know how that's supposed to be making him a murderer necessarily, because the movie is trying to have it so that you think that Alan is just taking his revenge on everybody by slowly killing them.
Which you don't really get the sense that Alan is a master of psychological torture.
Hey, Bella, your ass stinks.
He tugs on ponytails.
Yeah.
Like that's the beginning and the end of it.
I think we get to our big final set piece of torture of Alan, which a girl invites him to play spin the bottle in a darkened area. So of course he can't see anything. He's like, well, that's how you always play spin the bottle. Some kids come out, and I guess like you don't see it happen, but they strip him down to his underwear, and then they just push him into a staged area, like out from behind of a stage curtain.
Yeah, where the tonight social is happening.
Yeah. And there's a spotlight at the ready. And so he comes out, and everybody just laughs at him for standing there in his underwear, which, I'm not saying I want that to happen to me, of course. But at the same time, it's just be like, yeah, here, fine, guys, laugh, I guess. But
you do all that weightlifting, all that, bodybuilding. Yeah. So, and you would already be bronzed. Yeah. I mean, you constantly bronze yourself just in case that happens.
I'm bronzed now just for the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. But yeah, it's like, but then it's like, okay, what if the scene in Carrie happened and then we just moved on? Because that's what happens is that Alan think about that. Alan suffers this rising tide of being bullied that culminates with this, and then it's just sort of like, all right, we're done with that scene now. Yeah. Let's move on. Meanwhile, there's this ongoing investigation where Sheriff Jerry they can't cover up these dead bodies. Mm-hmm. Ronnie, like in the first one, is starting to lose his mind a little bit that like this is happening again. I warned you.
It's Angela!
Ronnie, stop it!
I'll stop it! I'm gonna put a stop to it right now!
Ronnie!
We have to do something before it's too late, before she kills someone else!
And I like that it's the same actor, which I think is pretty great that they brought back.
I think it's cool.
Paul D'Angelo to be Ronnie again. Looks great. Like he kept in shape. Way to go, Paul. Mm-hmm. Speaking of bodybuilding, and then like in the first one, Frank doesn't want the bad publicity because he even says,
Arawak. Isn't that where that kid went on a killing spree?
Yeah, that's the place. Ruined the camp business for years. Ronnie was the head counsel over there.
I love the idea of there being a publication like covering news of the camp industry or something like Camp Weekly.
Yeah.
Camp Owner Quarterly.
Camp LinkedIn.
But we forgot to mention before this even happened, Alan has discovered that people have killed and skinned a bunch of his frogs.
Oh, yeah.
So someone's already like doing that to him. Mm-hmm. Then he has this stuff on top of it.
Right.
So yeah, then he's pushed in front of everybody. There's a counselor named Petey. That is, I don't know if that's supposed to be a nod to Peter Baker.
Baker. That's how I took it. Yeah.
Angela's brother / Angela that actually cares for him. Or is at least empathetic enough to try to take care of him. Nothing really comes of that.
Not at all.
Like there's a character that's nice to him, but then it's not like it just happens once.
Yeah.
And it kind of ineffectually. So it doesn't really be like, no, there's some good parts in the world too. It's just that occasionally there might be some respite from this, but it's not ultimately going to matter.
The only thing that it serves is Ronnie's suspicions, really, when he says like,
it's funny, Petey. Every time Alan gets in any trouble, you're always there.
In which case it's like once, I think. But like he starts trying to assume that like Petey might be Angela or something like that. I don't know what his case was that he was arguing.
Yeah, because I think it's, like I said, it's trying to do that other red herring of like, oh, what if it's someone that cares too much?
Yeah. Is looking out for Alan. And I'm sorry, but I ain't killing for Alan.
No. Alan, no, absolutely not. On that topic, at this point, Sheriff Jerry has been doing some investigations as well after Weed's death and the cook's death. These aren't deaths you can really hide.
Yeah.
You know, a guy's head exploded.
In a fryer.
And goes to talk to Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
They track down Ricky from the first movie.
Yeah.
He now works at a quarry. Ricky, it's again, same actor, Jonathan Tiersten, coming back, still has Angela's back. Also makes it a point to call Angela she.
Yep.
Ricky says trans rights. But I like because even the sheriff tries to be like, no, it's not Angela. It's not a she, it's a he.
This accident that happened over there may be related to your cousin Angela.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, considering she's been locked in a rubber room for the last 20 years.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. I go to see her every few weeks. I'm the only one who goes to see her.
You mean him?
What?
Him. Angela's really a man now, isn't she?
You know what? Fuck you.
Ricky pushes back on that a little bit, but it's like, it can't be Angela. Angela's in a hospital.
And it's smart of the sheriff to go alone and question Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
Why? We'll wait for a little bit, but this scene is certainly pivotal when you look back on it.
After Petey takes Alan aside, the people are like, hey, you know what would be fun after bullying Alan? Bullying Alan.
Yeah.
And so they all just get together and yell blowjob, chant blowjob at the cabin until Alan finally comes out and does some more yelling.
The first chant of the word blowjob from everybody did kind of make me laugh. Like,
yeah,
I guess because I'm 12, but like it was just a chorus of voices out there. It had a touch of eeriness to it that I thought was funny. But then, it just kept going, and then Alan showed up, so I didn't want to watch it anymore. But it was mildly amusing for the first bit.
Yeah, it's less that you feel bad that he's being bullied, as you're like, don't bully him because I'm gonna have to look and hear from him. I'm gonna have to see him and hear from him,
right.
And I don't want to. And no one ever suggests to Alan, like, why don't you shower? Why don't you do anything to improve your situation? Which is
totally
pretty great for the camp. Yeah. So Alan runs off into the woods. He's all pissed off. Frank shows up, restores order, doing a different kind of yelling. I mean, to be fair, like if Vincent Pastore yelled at me, I would stop whatever I was doing.
That's true. He goes back to his own cabin where Matilda lives, and you see this figure that we're only seeing in, like you said, like a hoodie or something like that, pull the bird out of the cage and then whacks Frank on the forehead with a hammer, and he goes out. He wakes up tied to the chair, and this figure takes the bird cage and just wraps it around his head. And so that explains the entire purpose of having Matilda there, just so we can get this bird cage on top of Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And dumps, I don't know if I couldn't see what the person was dumping into the cage, so I would just assume that it's rats. And I guess what they're going for, because they cut very quickly, is that these rats are just going to burrow their way into Frank. Be pretty cool if we could see that.
Now, are you making that assumption based on having seen the movie and sees what happens later, or when someone is dumping a mysterious bag, you just go, well, that's rats?
Well, that's rats.
Okay.
Rats in a cage.
Okay, it's the cage.
Yeah.
Cage plus bag equals rats. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah, right. And I feel like that's happened in other horror movies.
Yeah.
Did it happen in a Saw movie or something like that? Like they heat... Oh, no, that was Game of Thrones. They heated up a little cage with a rat that just started just gnawing its way through somebody.
Yeah. So there are these rats in there, I guess. And then, well, they don't find Frank yet because there's Frank settled.
We cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. We cut from there.
Meanwhile, Randy, who's and this is another thing I'll bring up with Randy, because Randy is this British actor that is one of the camp counselors. And then rather than having like teens, or people passably being teens, most of the counselors seem to be like middle-aged people, like clear
like
adults,
even higher.
Yeah. because Randy is very much just a guy. And he and this other character, Linda, go to the pump house to have sex. Randy is the one that organized the.
Yeah, any house there he goes to is a pump house.
Hell yeah, brother.
Right? Yeah.
But he's the one that organized the wedgie on Alan earlier.
Right.
They're going to go have sex at the pump house. And Randy's like, hey, could you go get, I forget what, something out of the Jeep. I got to go.
Sleeping bag.
And
a couple of beers.
I have to go pee. And so she goes out to do that. And meanwhile, while he's peeing, again, just like this really convoluted and stretched out thing, a figure shows up, ties him to the tree, manages to like get him so he's tied around the tree. And then this slowly a very tiny noose made of fishing line starts being lowered.
Was funny.
It's kind of ridiculous, but the fact that he's like, well, what are we going to do? Go fishing for some rats? Or I'm sorry, it was, what are we going to do? Go fishing for some rats?
Yep.
Actually, I guess I should salute Randy for that, for bringing back accents, because there's still some good accents in this movie.
There you go.
A lot much like the first one, but they added some spice with the British one. But no, it's clear like that's going around his Big Ben, and Linda, the other character that he's with, starts hearing some of this and is convinced it's Alan or the killer or something. So he's running away, gets into the Jeep instead of getting stuff out of it and peels out. Just like, screw you, Randy, I'm leaving you there. Well, the car is tied to the fishing line that is tied to his penis. This scene goes on for a long time, not in any sort of like big tension building.
Yeah.
It's just, just do it. Just please.
Yeah. Just rip his wiener off.
Yeah,
just get to it, please.
Just get done with this.
I love that the killer's plot had to have him have his penis exposed at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this would not have worked. This magic would not have worked if he didn't have to go pee out in the middle of the woods.
Right.
So
yeah,
good thing that the killer lucked out.
Yeah, I mean, you could knock a guy out and then have him wake up, and that's happened. But really,
that's true.
Yeah, but really, it did the killer a huge favor here.
One wiener ripping.
Mm-hmm.
She ends up driving through some barbed wire that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and it gets wrapped around her face and throat. And I will say that when we eventually see it later on, looks kind of okay. It looks like, like not quite an Event Horizon, but like they're going for that kind of thing.
Sure. And that was something that Jeff Hayes called out in his book as well, is like kind of liking that effect. Like that, I thought that looked really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. To me, it looks like someone dumped a bunch of tomato sauce on her face and then wrapped her head in barbed wire.
Yes.
But it's still like, I still like that she's not dead and that he's like, they're basically just suffering and bleeding out, but not like this immediate death, which is, again, a little bit crueler than the first movie, even though the first movie, a guy got stung, by wasps to death. These are still just, well, actually, I shouldn't compare to the first movie because then I remembered what happened to Judy. So never mind. Yeah. Point taken. Robert Hiltzik loves cruelty.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's dead. Ronnie's been looking for Alan. Meanwhile, is checking on the other boys that have been abusing Alan. So like, well, Alan's probably going to come kill them. That's probably what's happening here. So he's got TC, which I guess, I don't know if that's intentionally a callback to the name of the counselor from 2, given that this sort of wants to bypass 2. And anyway, that he's under house arrest of sorts and turns down going on a panty raid because he's on house arrest. And then he's just going to hang out and look at some pornography.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunately interrupted by a giant spear, a wooden stake that comes through the floor and destroys said pornography.
Okay. So this scene, again, there's no tension in it, or there's very little tension, because when his buddy Spaz comes back from the panty raid, he's just like, check out what's underneath this floorboard. Just keep looking at it. So they keep putting their eyeballs up against the hole. And the fact that they keep going with it did kind of make me laugh in that, like, almost like Family Guy, like, let's repeat the joke over and over again type of thing. So this bit did work for me, actually.
I got a chuckle out of this as well.
Yeah, and then the 1-2 punch of when the spear finally comes and he wanders around and like bumps into the wall with it because he can't see and it just goes further into his head.
Yes.
Not bad.
That was good. This might have been my favorite kill for this one, just because it is rather silly.
Yeah.
And in fact, talking about this, like this working and being funny versus the other stuff, is it kind of feels like
he accidentally made it work.
Kind of, but it's also that like before R. Kelly became famous for what R. Kelly is famous for now, He was kind of infamous for his Trapped in the Closet series of videos that were pretty ridiculous. And after the first batch came out, he made a sequel, but he was in on the joke this time. He was like, no, it was always meant to be funny. And they were very much not funny because he was trying to be funny. And that's kind of what it feels like here, is that he has seen people kind of like laugh along with some of the stuff in the first one and went like, they like that this is silly, so I'll make it funny. And it's just not.
Yeah, totally. He succeeds with this one.
Yeah, this one works. And I actually like what follows this is then Bella, who has had a tumultuous relationship with Alan this whole time, this character. There's a back and forth at the girls' cabin, but then she gets left alone. And underneath her, she's lying on the bottom bunk, and a figure jumps off the ceiling, a crossbar on the ceiling onto the top bunk, which collapses it. And then below on the bottom of the top bunk are nails. And so it just crushes her. And I like how stupid, but it ties into that, like being a little kid and sleeping on the bottom bunk and being like, oh, this thing's going to fall and kill me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And so just like playing off of that childhood fear, I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah. And this one's just blunt force. Just like, I'm just jumping on the bed one time and boom.
I don't have the time to do this anymore. I'm just going to kill you directly.
We also see the remains of Frank. And his guts have been torn open, and you can almost see the rats in there, like wiggling around a little bit. Like I saw movement. Yeah. And that's about it.
Basically, it appears as though they just sort of rotoscoped around parts of his shirt and then superimposed rats on some fleshy stuff and then sort of inserted in there. It really looks, the two images don't look remotely related to each other. Not great.
Somebody finds TC's body. And so now it's like the alarm is sounded essentially that, TC's dead. There's a killer on the loose. And boy, if there wasn't enough yelling for you earlier on in this movie, you're in for a treat, because now everybody's just screaming and yelling at each other about finding the killer and like the best way to go about doing it. And there's just shouting past each other. This is where Ricky shows up.
Yes.
He's coming down to help everybody out. And I just... Yeah,
he got the sheriff told him to show up.
I'm just disappointed they didn't find a place for him to say, eat shit and die, eat shit and live, or just like something to like, because it took me like a little bit of a second to remember which kid that he was. But and he's fine, in this bit. But you're right. He doesn't do a whole lot, especially as we circle the drain here. But everybody's like running off in different directions, trying to find Alan or trying to find, Ronnie thinks it's Angela at this point, but I don't know why.
Ronnie thinks it's Alan, I think, because of like the similar murder stuff. But at this point, the Sheriff Jerry shows up, revealing it's not Sheriff Jerry at all. This has all been huge machinations trying to get these people together. Revealing that it's Angela. It takes off the mask. It's Felissa Rose is Angela. Alan gives the finger to the counselors and goes, "Your ass stinks." And then Angela laughs and then stops laughing immediately to stare at the camera. And then the movie ends.
Yeah. Just as effective as the ending scene in the first
Iconic.
One. Oh, and one thing that was skipped over, Michael tracks down Alan and beats him with a croquet mallet.
Right.
So Alan does get his in the end.
Right. But he's not. He just gets beaten for a bit. Later, they find that Michael is skinned. Much like that effect was good. I like that. That was
actually cool.
That skin thing. Here's the actual twist that is nowhere in this movie. That's Angela. That's not Peter as Angela. That's not Peter transitioning to Angela. That's supposed to be Angela.
Yeah.
That's not in the movie at all. Like it's at this point, it's established that Angela, Felissa Rose as Angela is Peter / Angela. But this is supposed to be like, no, she somehow survived and is angry at these other random people for her brother, she just doesn't like bullying, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just completely inexplicable. But Robert Hiltzik has said like, no, that's supposed to be Angela, not Peter. Doesn't make any sense at all.
That doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, it's terrible. It also it also just, I don't know. It seems like he really wanted to sidestep any of the gender stuff from the first one. Like he was, earlier we'd kind of assumed that he's just, it kind of happened. He's not that interested in it as a concept. It was just sort of a shock thing. And this kind of confirms it where he's like, I'm not getting into all that. This is actually what I want to get into is real stupid.
Yeah. But this supposed to be shocking reveal begs so many questions. One of which, why is a sheriff just kind of hanging around the camp? Yeah. Like just kind of doing nothing. Not really, he's like Doc Hayward showing up everywhere in Twin Peaks, just not doing his job, just hanging out.
Supposedly looking at a murder because he's there initially to tell kids to not smoke, I guess, among other stuff. Yeah. But so part of the problem I was getting at earlier. So you have this tiny sheriff speaking in this voice box thing, and he looks kind of ridiculous because he's small and his clothes don't fit. But it's supposed to be like, oh, that's covered. That's Angela pretending to be the sheriff. You immediately go like, well, when's going to be the reveal on that? Because that is clearly a fake person. That's right. That's not a guy. That is a Tajimura situation for those of you listening to the Twin Peaks episodes. Yeah. Where it's like, well, that's okay. So it's, what is it, Angela? And
how's she holding him up over, a vat of boiling oil? Yeah.
And admittedly, a lot of things can happen in trying to get a movie made. And there was still, while they were getting ready to start shooting, like they hadn't fully finalized a deal with Felissa Rose to be in it at all. But it's wild to make Sleepaway Camp 2 and like not use Felissa Rose or, Return to Sleepaway Camp and not use Felissa Rose. Like she's a central part of this whole thing. It's like, no, we wanted to do Friday the 13th part 2, but not have, Friday the 13th part 2 as Mrs. Palmer comes back. But like that she's this iconic figure from that. Mm-hmm. And to just leave that to the wayside only to be like a reveal at the end is a strange move. Like just sure. This doesn't want to be fan service, but it kind of does. But then it just, I don't know. For what his initial idea was versus what it became, it just doesn't hold up. Like if that came out the next year, you'd be like, that's kind of dumb. They didn't put Angela in it, but whatever. But this is 20 some years later. And then it's just, hey, look, it's Angela. The end.
Right. And right at the very end. Yeah. And also like, why did she dressed as the cop go to see Ricky?
Yeah.
There's nothing to prove in that scene except to us, the audience, like, this is an actual cop investigating this actual thing. Not Angela asking Ricky, do you know where Angela is?
Right.
And it's not being done to like pull the wool over the eyes of anybody else.
If you wanted to, because as Ricky said, Ricky was summoned there. So if the idea is like, well, I'm going to get my revenge against everybody, like if somehow, again, if this is the real Angela, I don't want to say, if this is the twin Angela, the original Angela, I guess I'll say, if this is the original Angela and like wanted to get some kind of revenge against everyone that bullied Peter / Angela, okay, like that would be, but because nothing comes of it, we do get an after credit scene that's her just randomly murdering somebody else.
Yeah,
which is fine. I mean, it's a fun little bit. Great. But it makes you kind of go, oh, wouldn't that have been cool if the whole movie was this?
Sure. And I took that after credit scene as like something like that's where she got the cop uniform.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That would have been like I don't want to call it a flashback, but like that's where she got the uniform and then she was on her way.
No, that makes total sense. And I think that like it would have been a little bit more fun knowing that, I think, going into it, that it's like, oh, well, the person investigating, I mean, it's would have brought anything to this movie other than people yelling, which is all this was interested in doing. Yeah, it's a bummer because I like Angela. I like Felissa Rose. And so you're like, oh, okay, here we go. Kick it into high gear. Oh, no, the movie's over.
Not even like a fun kill spree on her own at the end. It's just sort of like because they wanted to mirror that closing shot of the first one. We're just going to close with a close up on her. But yeah, kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, let's honor our dead. Mickey, played by Lenny Benito, head shoved into deep fryer. Terry Weed Williams, played by Adam Wiley, force-fed gasoline, blown up. Frank Kostick, played by Vincent Pastore, disemboweled by rats. Randy, played by Bry Cooper, penis torn off by Jeep. Linda O'Casey, played by Jackie Toad, barbed wire wrapped around head. TC, played by Christopher Synod, Spike in the eye. Bella Boyd, played by Shadia McIntosh, impaled and crushed by spike bed. Michael, played by Michael Wenner, skinned alive by Angela. Sheriff Pete, played by Carlo Vogel, head smashed by car. I'm gonna count the post-credits kill.
Yeah, that's fair. That counts.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 9 or 10. So it's got a decently high body count. And again, like the ideas behind the kills were dumb but fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't a Jason with a machete or a hammer or something like that. Like, I mean, the fishing line noose creeping in the frame, again, like that made me laugh when, you know, like that stuff was good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't necessarily always love how it was done. Like I said, like that scene, I just wanted to be over.
Oh,
but there's like a couple of times earlier where there's a standoff with Alan and kids that are bullying him where he like pulls a knife and it does this very Sergio Leone, like zoom in on eyes, knife, zoom in on Alan's eyes, zoom in on eyes, knife, zoom in, like where it's kind of repeating to try to build tension.
Sure.
And that was more effective than I think than any of the penis ripping leading up to that. Although it was funny when she's stuck in a puddle, but then she's like, 4-wheel drive.
Yes.
It wasn't worth it for as long as that scene went on. But yeah, I mean, like there's some neat ideas there. I liked some of the special effects, like that were for good and bad. Like some of them, like the rats in the tummy were a bit much, but like, I don't know, the kid's head exploding was fine. The Spaghetti-O Man I enjoyed. So
yeah,
I can't be too mad at it for that.
Can't say that I'll ever want to fire this one back up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would put on part 4 before I put this on.
I will say these latter two are turning me into more of an apologist for 2 and 3.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I still think I think still 1 is in a class all its own, but they're still like 2 and 3. I'm like, yeah,
good.
That's at least an ethos, man. You know, like there's something there.
It's introduced party hats into my lexicon.
That's true.
You know?
And thank God for that.
Oh yeah. Walking around town saying party hats to various women. No, not at all.
Makes your job giving mammograms very difficult.
Right. Yeah. So next week we'll get into our wrap up and then we'll pick a new one.
Yeah.
See what we're feeling like after 5 sleepaway camps. It's been a nice long summer with these guys, but
you can't stay at camp forever.
Anyone out there, just try to defend Alan. Like if we always say, if we don't like something, please let us know if you like this movie. I would love to know. And if you think Alan's a really cool guy, you know, there will be lines drawn in the sand, of course, but I will always listen. Especially if you think Alan is a very cool guy.
Alan has always been cool.
You're right. All right, everyone. Well, next week we'll wrap it up. So you can email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at hurtabitpod, and you can find us on YouTube at thismayhurtabit. So until next week, good night.
Good night.
This has been a Caretaker Press production. It was produced by James Strayer and edited by John C. Myers. Logo by Ethan Kimberling and music by Michael Arthur Holloway, who you can find on Bandcamp. Follow us on Instagram at thismayhurtabitpod and email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review over on your favorite podcast app, and we'll see you next time.